Good morning, beautiful people. It's about 8:14 a.m. 7/30/2014. Some things have happened. I'm going to do a video that I've never done before talking about gangs. I'm going to single-handedly tell you everything I know about gangs. Because people think they know, but you have no idea about gangs. And I have hung out with a lot of gang members all my life. I'm going to start out by talking about my first interaction with a gangster by the name of Tiger. He's a very cool guy, very nice guy, amazing martial artist. I know him from when I used to go to the clubs in FX. That's in A-Leaf. That is an area on the outskirts of Houston. When I lived in Spring Branch, which is a majority of a white area, that is also on the outskirts of Houston, Texas. These are two different smaller city places in Texas. I got to know all the gangsters when I was about 13, 14 years old, because I went to a club called FX in Fame City. Fame City was the place where everybody went and hung out. I was a dancer. I wanted to dance. I remember the first time I started dancing, and I did this really funny dance where I was just hopping around on one leg and switching legs because I didn't know how to dance, and it was my first time dancing, and everybody looked so cool. And then when I started doing what I was doing, I did everything so quick, and everybody was just like, wow, it's different. And I guess it was kind of cool. But then the really good dancers in the club, Brian Davion and Davion. Brian Davion and Shannon Luxford were the two best dancers. These are other brothers who, I guess eventually, from what I heard, down the line they got big into something, and Shannon got turned out. I couldn't believe that when I heard that. I still can't believe that. But anyway, also later on, the guys that joined the crew, there was Zach Morris, and then there was Mike. And Zach used to sing with a group called Night and Day. If you people back in Houston remember Night and Day, that's Zach. So this is some really old school, like before the rave scene started, like old school stuff. I'm talking like Audrey Moran, who is Jack Mackerel and one of the best known techno producers in Germany, was sitting on the speakers in FX, always on ecstasy, watching us dance. And I didn't know who he was at the time, but he knew who I was because everybody knew who I was because I was a dancer. I got in with the best dancers in the club. It was me, Shannon, and Brian and Mike that ran that club with our dance moves. When we walked in that club, everybody knew the party was on, and we were always on the front steps dancing and showing our moves off, and it was the entertainment of the whole club. If we weren't in the club, the club wasn't the same. So everybody got to know who I was, and all the gangsters in the club knew who I was. So if you know the history of A-Leaf, let me tell you the history of A-Leaf and its gangsters. Now, A-Leaf it has a history of Vietnamese people. I mean, I love Vietnamese people. I love Vietnamese food. Vietnamese women are so beautiful. They're very sweet, kind, humble people. They have it rough in America. And so A-Leaf was actually the place where a lot of Asian people lived, but majority it was a Vietnamese Asian community. So a lot of Vietnamese gangsters always came to FX and mixed with the Chinese and the Japanese gangsters. I mean, I knew them all, and Italian gangsters. So I'm going to give you some names of some people that I knew because the Bad Boy Hit Squad that my stepbrother was on, Cliff Krager Jackson, that is the HPD cop that was involved in the shooting of Biggie Smalls, which was also Black Disciples, that was involved with the shooting of Jam Master Jay, who was also a Black Disciple. When I say Black Disciples, I mean BD, Black Gang. One of the oldest and notorious black gangs in New York. And one of the strongest, if not the strongest. So this was all taking place before my stepbrother came into my life, because when these hits took place, he was on the Bad Boy Hit Squad, and the Bad Boy Hit Squad was a federal secret assassin team assembled to take out the gangs by the feds, because the gangs were getting too powerful. So I want you to understand that I was about 13, 14 years old during this time of knowing all these people like Tiger, people like Todd, people like Drake. Anybody remember Drake? He used to drive around the Porsches, Lamborghinis, long blonde hair. He was Italian mafia. So these were the people that I knew very well and grew up with. The Bad Boy Hit Squad came along and killed a lot of them and a lot of their families. And what they actually did, because BD came down to Houston, and actually they went into Galveston, took over the port of Galveston. You know what that's about. So they were running the port of Galveston, and then they moved into A-Leaf and started really controlling things with the Asian gangsters. So the cops at one time and point could not even go into A-Leaf because they would get shot. I'm not kidding. The original Bad Boys, where Puff Daddy actually stole that name, he still has to pay the Black Disciples for what he did. Same with Cliff. Cliff, my stepbrother's got to pay the Black Disciples for what he did. The Bad Boy Gang, the original Bad Boy Gang, was Asians and Black Disciples. And they all still know this. They don't listen to Puff Daddy. I'm going to explain to you what happened with Bad Boy Records, and I want you to understand this is some gangster shit, but I grew up in it. So my stepbrother Cliff, after he was on the Bad Boy Hit Squad, I want you to understand, because I hung out with these people and they were really great people. I'm not going to lie. I mean, some of the funnest times in my life, and they were always protecting me. Whenever stupid people would do stupid shit, they would always show a large, like, force of massive, like, what the fuck are you doing? And then, you know, everybody would back off or apologize because they're about to get killed. So I want you to understand what the U.S. government did to me with my stepbrother. I never really broke it down like this, and it really needs to be broken down. So I don't know, if I get a movie deal or something, I can just go, oh, I'm busy, go listen to this movie, or this movie, or this one that I did. It's all in there. So I want you to understand that I was on the Asian Task Force police list at the age of 14 because of the company that I kept. At the age of 14. Because I was going to school, and on the weekends I was going to FX dancing. That's it. I was just dancing. Wasn't drinking, wasn't smoking. I was just dancing. I love dancing. I'm a hardcore dancer. I was at the age of 14. So they put me as a gangster pretty much at the age of 14 because I was going to school. I'm not going to lie. It was me, my friend Alex, my friend Brian, my friend Omar. We were all the like top of the school because we would all dress really nice. We would wear like two-piece suits, four-piece double-breasted suits and slacks and a button-up shirt to school. Now this would be very weird when you had all the stupid jocks and stuff and the preps, and I mean we were dressed in suits because these are the clothes that we would wear to the clubs. And so all the teachers were like, oh, they dress so nice, and they thought we were drug dealers, but we weren't. We just loved clothes. Brian was Italian, and Brian was a model. Alex, Mexican. His father, you know, owned a few businesses for the Mexican mafia. I'm not going to get into it, but Alex was my best friend growing up. I love his family, you know. But I mean, you never fuck with Alex. I'm not going to say his last name, but for my old school people that grew up with me, you know who Alex is. I mean, I love that guy. So anyway, then you had Omar. Omar was basically Arab, and he was the martial arts guy. That guy could jump, I swear, like 12 feet in the air and do a roundhouse right over your head, and so quick you wouldn't even see it. And he was like this ninja. And everybody would talk about, oh, I've seen him do it, but he would never do it. He'd only do it like just if you really, really egged him on, and it would be so quick you wouldn't even see it. So Omar was really, really, really trained, and actually, yeah, I'm gonna say it, fuck it. His family owns Fame City now. Omar went and bought Fame City. You know, his family's a very wealthy family in Houston. And Omar wasn't really, you know, a gangster or whatever. His family was just always wealthy, and he hung out with us. Him and all his brothers. Ali, and I mean, they were all cool, like Indian guys. Really. So, to put a long story short, these are the people that I hung out with growing up. And me, Brian, and Omar, we were considered like the school's mafia. And the school put that on us. We didn't. We were just guys that liked to go to school dressed nice. That's all. And we didn't deal drugs. We just hung out and we liked nice clothes. I mean, we looked down at all the people wearing jeans and t-shirts and stuff, because the girls would dress nice. The girls would dress like for school in nice dresses, nice skirts. I mean, the girls would dress nice, you know? But then when it comes to the guys would dress like fucking jocks and no class and fucking bullshit 3-button polos, all that shit, and we were just like, that's not us. So we were like full double-breasted, single-breasted suit, you know, no vest. Sometimes Omar and Brian would rock the vest, but I wouldn't. I was just, you know, button-up shirt, slacks, and jacket. So this is how I grew up. So the cops started watching me. Little did I know, the cops started watching me, but I was a mind-controlled child assassin that was under mind control from a very young age. I'm not going to really get into that. I did other videos that got into that. So back again to my stepbrother Cliff, how he got put on me and my family. Wilbur Jackson, who was Marvin Gaye's background singer and also the antagonizer of the shooting of Marvin Gaye. What I mean by antagonizer is Wilbur wanted more rights to the music. So what he did when Marvin was out of town is he went to Marvin Gaye's father and started talking to him about how he should get more money and blah, 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 blah. And if he does, to kick him down some, because Marvin wasn't budging to Wilbur. Wilbur knew Marvin when they were in high school, when Marvin had his first band. Wilbur was the drummer and Marvin was the singer. So, I mean, in Marvin's head, think about how much, in Wilbur's head, think about how much he thought Marvin owed him, since Marvin was this big star blowing up and he was always there for Marvin. So I also want to remind you that Wilbur Jackson was also the man to introduce Joe Jackson to Quincy Jones and never received anything really from that. So Wilbur was just like a bitter man because he wasn't getting a piece of Motown, no way, shape, or form. After Marvin was dead, he had nothing. He became a DJ. This is my stepfather. This was the man that they put on my mom. Wilbur Jackson was also started the Shrine of the Black Madonna. It is a Freemasonic black cult organization. They use the Shrine of the Black Madonna for money laundering. Now, I want you to understand, these are not gangsters who I'm talking about, these people that entered my life with the full help of the U.S. government. They are basically the people that work with the Bloods, the blood drinkers, the warlocks, the Freemasons, the Satanists. So when you get into understanding gangs, it is the Crips and the Bloods, the Blues and the Reds. I never wear red. I hate red. Red is for people that, are obsessed with power and all that shit, blood drinkers. I don't like red. I love blue. I love sky blue. It's just my color. Always has been. It's my favorite color. Sky is blue. Water is blue. What better than blue, So that's how I've always been. It doesn't really have anything to do with gangs. And the gangs always know, say, oh, he's wearing blue. He knows what's up. And I was like, no, I just like blue. But anyway, they can think what they want. So they put these people in my life strategically, the government did. Now, I want you to understand exactly how they did it. They put me on the Asian Task Force list. Now, let me remind you again, they knew, the shadow government knew I was already a child assassin, part of Project Montauk, having all these memories blocked from me and becoming older at 15, 16, because in Project Montauk, they utilize you at a young age. They utilize you when you're like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, because when you go and jump through stargates and stuff, nobody really pays attention to the kid. Even if you're a black kid, they really don't pay attention to you. They're very, if you're a child or a kid, they're very nice to you. Always don't think, there's no way, they would think, oh, he's a time traveler. Or he shouldn't be here. That's the last thing that anyone thinks when you're a kid. The first thing that they think when you're a kid, especially a cute kid, is, oh, can I help you? Where's your parents? What are you doing here? Blah, blah, blah. You know, really, really nice, wanting to help. So this is one of the main reasons why the government utilizes kids as child assassins and time travelers. It's the least expected ones to do it. So the shadow government that put these men on my family because it was above their classification, but they knew this, they knew what they were doing. So Cliff was on the bad boy federal task force execution team. That's what I'll call it. Because the bad boys were the gangs in A-Leaf, and they were the Black Disciples and BC. That is the Black BD and the Vietnamese BC gangs. They were running Houston with an iron hand, and I can honestly say with a peaceful iron hand. They weren't really messing with anybody. Cops were corrupt. Cops are still corrupt. So then, I'm going to tell you about the big turning point. Why 50 Cent is worth so much to our government. Now I want you to really wrap your head around what I'm about to tell you, because it's some gangster shit. I did another video about it. I'm doing another video about it. Because it really needs to be broken down, because I don't think people really got it in the last video, because I left out some things. But I want people to understand the big picture of the shadow government and the big brother hand, the hand of deception. So, Cliff Corregger Jackson, who also has a twin brother that works for the city, construction. So, I want you to remember that, because it's the perfect alibi for Cliff, because he has a twin brother. I never really emphasized that in the last tape, but yes, my hitman, my stepbrother, has a twin brother. Corregger Jackson has a twin brother. So is that not perfect for a hitman? And his brother works for the city. Works for street construction. You know what that's about. Burying bodies. Let's be honest. That's what Cliff's brother does. Cliff does the hits. His brother buries the bodies. It's a nice little family. This is my Jackson side of my family. These are Wilbur Jackson's sons. So, Cliff was on the Bad Boy Hit Squad. Everyone that is a member of the Bad Boy Hit Squad, that is one of the most secret things of the government, because they killed a lot of Asian gangsters. I'm going to tell y'all something. For you people that don't know, Toli is still alive. Yeah, they didn't kill Toli, and he's very well trained, and he's still moving around doing his own thing. He is still alive. So, feds, you didn't get Toli, motherfuckers. And you know what that's about, because I know what you did to him. I'm not going to go into Toli's story and how you set him up and then try to get Casper and all the other Vietnamese on him. You know, but it's again, the Bad Boy Hit Squad and what they did to the VC. So this is a long time coming. And to you Mexican gangsters, y'all don't know shit. I mean, y'all sit there and do movies with y'all chopping off women's heads and shit. Okay, whatever. Have you really ever taken on a Vietnamese gangster? They'll fucking destroy you. Now, I want you to understand, before I get back to Cliff, about the Vietnamese. The Vietnamese single-handedly are still to this day undefeated. And the U.S. government had to go in and set up child prostitution and start pimping out their daughters and selling them and getting other Vietnamese men to do this for these pedophiles that work for the government to control the VC. It's Vietnamese. So then you got to understand the Vietnamese fought off the French, they fought off the Americans, and what did they use? What did the Vietnamese use? See, they never talk about this in history. What tactics and techniques did the Vietnamese use? They used ninjutsu techniques. And still to this day, they use ninjutsu techniques. So when I say, you know, in my videos, I grew up with ninjas, I wasn't kidding. I know what techniques they utilize. And they always utilize these techniques in war and on the battlefield, no matter what they do. This is the VC. Honestly. And nobody's ever really said it. I'll say it. I mean, they taught me some really amazing things. Seriously. So, I want you to understand why it was so important for the U.S. government to stop the VC in America. Because the U.S. government, do you know about Vietnam and what they did? What Vietnam was really about? And why you have these racist hicks going goop this, goop that? It wasn't about those people. It was about control of that land, theft of that land, and theft of their resources. And to start to control Asia with the other people that want that bullshit Americanization that is pretty much destroying them right now. Need I talk about GMO and the NWO fucking depopulation world agenda? I'm not going to even get into it, but look at the world. Vietnam was actually the start of this. And actually Vietnam was actually used as an experimentation on our own soldiers. I mean, just go back and look at the movie Jacob's Ladder. I mean, this was the time when the U.S. government had Nazis working in our government and running experiments on U.S. soldiers because U.S. soldiers are considered U.S. property. This was Vietnam. So, after that came the VC gang in America. The war never stopped, people. It still hasn't stopped. They're still killing these people and selling Vietnamese girls into prostitution because, I'm going to say it, nobody's really said this. Asian women, Asian girls, they can be 30 years old and still look 18. Seriously. They have these people have discovered the fountain of youth. And it's because of the way they live. Now these pedophiles, I don't care how old these people are, you know, but they will take a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old child and fuck them. This is standard in the U.S. government. Need I go into, you know, what Laurel Aston, an ex-CIA agent who was taken at the age of 2 years old from her home in Mexico because she is Rita Hayworth's niece, who is also another Mexican woman that was utilized in the U.S. government as another assassin. And so then they come along and take her daughter and do the same shit because she was very good at what she did. Rita Hayworth was very beautiful. So I'm just breaking it down so y'all can see who the real gangsters are and who the real pimps are. Because there's a difference between a pimp and a gangster. Well, gangsters don't need to pimp. The U.S. government is a pimp and a thief and fucking rapist of children. I mean, look at what's going on in Vietnam right now in the human trafficking epidemic. Do you think the Vietnamese are controlling that? No. It's not the Vietnamese that are coming into their town with tourism from the UK, from America. Oh, I want to sleep with a little boy and a little girl. This is rampant in Vietnam. And then they put these politicians in place that are going to continue to be ruthless to its own people. This is Vietnam. So I want you to get a good picture of the mentality of the VC gangsters in America. And what America is doing to their own home and what they've done. See, I understood this at a very young age because I was hanging out with these guys and growing up with them, and they explained it to me. And it pissed me off. Because everything I was learning in history, which I had a fucking history teacher that was ex-military and a jiu-jitsu expert. And everybody was afraid of him except for me, and he was afraid of me. I talked so much shit in his class, and I would always correct him when he was trying to teach bullshit about American Indians and slavery, and I'd say, what about this, and what about this? Oh, and then when he get into Vietnam and how racist he was, and then I'd always correct him, and he'd get so pissed off, he'd have that look in his eye like, oh, I'll flip you and throw you across the room, and I was like, you can try. He had that look in his eye. These are the teachers in America, ex-fucking racist bullshit military. So this is how I grew up. So I want you to understand how the U.S. government really has, like, you know, been there with their hand up my fucking ass. Whether it's through my stepbrother, whether it's through a man that fucking married my mother and killed her and replaced her, Wilbur Jackson. You know, and now I got a fucking Mexican gangster named Cesar Augusta who tried to assassinate me 3 days ago. Now I got Mexican cartel bitches blowing me kisses when I'm walking through the mall trying to tell me that the kiss of death is on me. So I'm going to lay it down for all you stupid fucks. This is who I am, and this is who you put the kiss of death on, stupid. Not only was I utilized as a child assassin in the U.S. military in the Project Montauk, to continue to control me and to keep me under mind control secretly, they put a fucking assassin in my home and assassinated my mother and replaced her, and I've gone on record stating this from Romania to France. This is standard tactics when you have someone like me. Because the U.S. government does not want me to talk. They will kill everybody in my fucking family. So if they need to utilize me at one time and point and things get out of control and things end up on us, they can still utilize me. But they're not going to utilize me anymore because I'm in control. I undid my mind control. So I want you to get a clear picture of what the U.S. government did to my family. And then I want you to think about what you know about gangsters and what they did to my family. Point blank. I don't give a fuck about the government. I know what the fucking U.S. government did. And all these fucking Mexican cartel, CIA, pedophiles, smugglers of women. I hope somebody puts a fucking bullet in your head. Quick. I don't give a fuck about you. I don't give a fuck that you're getting paid. You're getting paid off my money. I can guarantee you they're jacking into my account that I made as a child assassin, and they're still paying your ass with that fucking money. Just like they do Laurel Aston. She made millions and millions and millions of fucking dollars. And then I get this bullshit cartel motherfucking lawyer that takes the jewels. No, I'll take him to New York. A place where she lived for like 7 years had these jewels of praise, and all of a sudden he gets back and says, oh, they're bad jewels, there's no money. And then this motherfucker tries to come in my house with a Mexican hitman, 2 Mexican hitmen, because you can see the video and you can see the pictures, those are hitmen. You can't make this shit up. This is how stupid these fuckers are. So I guess Caesar Augusta, they put the kiss of death on me, and all of a sudden I'm supposed to go to my gate and say, yeah, come in, assassins. After you stole $70,000 from me, come in my house. I mean, this is how stupid these motherfuckers are. I mean, seriously. You can't make this shit up. Nobody does stupid shit like this. But the Mexican cartel apparently does. They just did it. So I want you to see how stupid the CIA is and how dumb they got the Mexican cartel. I mean, literally how stupid the Mexican cartel is. This shit should be downright embarrassing, where I should have all of them grovling at my feet going, damn, I'm fucking sorry. Because this is going to be the biggest fucking embarrassing shit on them, and if they don't apologize, they'll all be dead. And not by my hand. Not kidding. So I never claimed to be a gangster, but I grew up with real ninjas. So, anyway, the US government, the CIA can talk all the shit that they want. They ain't gonna tell you this. All they're gonna do is do what they did yesterday. I was at the store. Okay? And I'm not kidding about it. This is the shit that they do. I'm at the store, checking out, buying a little bit of food, and I see this bald, tall black guy in a black shirt looking at me. He just walks over acting like he's waiting for somebody. And then he scratches his neck. You know what that means. I know what that means. That's gangster talk. So he's leaving, hit it. So they were planning on hitting me in between my house and the mall. Okay? So then when I saw this dude do this, I got the little 2 fingers. You know how you point the fingers like the gun and then fire at it? I did that to him. See, I don't use all that subliminal gangster shit. I like direct, because I think that's some pussy shit. But that's the CIA. I'm Mr. Secret Spy. No, I will get up in your face and go, oh, you were sitting here to hit me? You were sitting here to stalk me? And then, you know, your other Mexican cartel guys on the way walking home? Okay, there it is. And so you can make them think that they're part of the ignorant, fucking inbred, dumbass, bastardized, pedophile, Freemasonic, satanic CIA? Who wants to be a part of some shit that's so pathetic as this? Apparently the Mexican cartel does. Y'all fucking stupid. Honestly. So you got drugs. Okay, let's break down drugs. You got heroin, cocaine, weed. Okay. How smart are you? How smart is your organization? Not that smart. And then you pimp out women and sell kids. Okay. How smart is that? Not really that smart, considering it's your own people. You're selling your own people into slavery. So where does that put your race in the future? Pretty much as slaves. Is that smart? No. So I'm breaking it down. So I want you to understand, I'm sorry I got off the subject about Corregor Jackson and what he did with the black disciples, but I really want people to understand this shit and how these Mexican guys are walking around looking at me thinking that they're gangsters. No, dude, you ain't a gangster. You're somebody that's fucking delusional, that's been brainwashed by inbred pedophiles to think you got power and to think you're a gangster because you got a handful of guys that, you know, make videos on YouTube chopping the heads off their so-called wife. Okay, and let me tell you about the psychology of that. Yeah, it's disgusting. But real gangsters don't do that shit. There's no need for it. See, these Mexican gangsters are doing that shit, and the whole MI, those MS gangsters, the new ones or whatever, those are all CIA guys. But you can fucking tell. Because the US government operates off fear tactics. They do this in movies. They do this in everything. They want you to be scared. So then they're going to have the Mexican guys, you know, doing all these videos and posting up all these pictures with guys with knives in their bodies. And, yeah, we did this. Yeah, we'll do this to you. Yeah, we're just ruthless. Okay. The fact of the matter is, real gangsters don't do shit like this. Pussies do. Really. Pussies do shit like this. It's like, okay, I'm talking to an MS gangster or whatever, and we're getting into a fight. And he's like, oh, don't fuck with me. And then he throws up a picture of what he's done, or what one of his gang members have done. Oh, we'll do this to you. Do you think that's just going to scare me? See, by the time you throw up that picture, by the time we get to the point to where we're actually talking and you find out who I am, majority of the people with you are already dead. That's real gangster, motherfuckers. We don't talk about what we do, but I'm talking about a little bit of it now just to show you how stupid your shit is. So anyway, I don't have to lift a hand. I'm not going to lift a hand on these motherfuckers. I mean, they owe me over $70,000. Cesar Augusta, him and his father. All I know is I go to Cesar Augusta's office where his father was sleeping at about 8 o'clock at night, knocking on the door because I saw his father's car there. His father comes to the window, and I told him what Cesar did. The next day, Cesar comes to my home with hitmen. So I think maybe Cesar's father is like the big guy, you know? I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense. Mexican cartel is usually a family business. Not kidding. So after the day of the hit, when the shit didn't work, and then I come home from the mall and they're blowing me kisses, I leave again, and then I see Cesar Augusta's father dropping him and some redhead kid who might be Cesar's son, I don't know, off at Cesar's office that's right across the street from me. And I yell, Cesar Augusta, you drug dealing piece of shit. Where are your fucking pigs? This is how I operate. So, I want you to get a clear picture of what's going on in Cancun. Okay, the Mexican cartel told me, okay, you're gonna die. Do you think you're the first person to say you're gonna die or even spend millions of dollars trying to do it? No, you're not. Trust me. You're not the first, and I'm sure you won't be the last, but I'm still here. There's a reason for that. So, let's get back to the gangs and the past and what Cliff Jackson did with 50 Cent. And I'm sorry I got off subject, but I really want you to understand what's really going on with the gangster shit, because, you know, maybe I'm going to call this video gangster shit. So, my stepbrother, and I said it again in the video Hip Hop Assassinations, but this is about the gangsters and what they did. Now, I want you to know who drew the Bad Boy logo for the Bad Boys. The original one, not the one Puff Daddy changed over years. I drew the original Bad Boy logo. Yeah, that was me. And the Bad Boy logo was actually taken after the feds killed a lot of VCs, shot up Scarface's family members, because Scarface is BD, Black Disciple, from Houston, Texas. Ghetto boys. You know, homie, my mind playing tricks on me. All I got, all I have in this world, all I have in this world is my balls and my word. That's Scarface, the real Scarface. Bushwick Bill, what's up? Texas. Y'all know shit about us. So, anyway, Scarface runs Def Jam South now. Def Jam South Distribution. So, I want you to understand that my stepbrother was on the hit team that killed the VC and Black Disciples, because Kelvin Jackson, Kenneth Jackson, and his Black Disciple name was BD, which he was only a Black Disciple for a few months after he narked out the location of this meeting to his cousin, my stepbrother, Corregor Cliff Jackson, who's an HPD cop, CIA, Marine, Black Ops, a hitman, and trains Puff Daddy's security and has for over 20 years. That's my stepbrother, Wilbert Jackson's son. I want you to get a good picture of what I'm talking about. So, Kenneth Kelvin Boogie 50, when he was about what, maybe 15, 16 years old, was a Black Disciple and narked out the location of the meeting and got a lot of people killed and shot up. That's what he did. So then my stepbrother, Corregor, Hitman, Cliff, HPD, Marine, Black Ops, trained security for Puff Daddy, Mr. Jackson, relocates his cousin to New York. He is under the Federal Witness Protection Program of the highest level, I'm telling you. Highest level. We're talking about gangsters. He got real gangsters killed because of what he did. He got Black Disciples and VC killed because of what he did. Now, the government hates hip-hop. They've always wanted to be hip-hop and put their white boys in hip-hop and make hip-hop a thing where they got black people happy to call themselves niggas. And that's exactly what they did. They got niggas calling themselves niggas. And what's up, nigga? My nigga, nigga, this, nigga, that, nigga. That's hip-hop now. And it's like we went from fighting to have this word banned and to have some respect for ourselves. And then the U.S. government comes along, people like Cliff Jackson, a sellout, that's a nigga. Puff Daddy, faggot, that's a nigga. All those sellout niggas. Uncle fucking Tom's, that's a nigga. Okay? Let's be honest. All these motherfuckers got down with the government and said, yeah, we'll take it back. And had all these brothers like convinced, like, yeah, we're taking it back. We're gonna retake the word nigger. Okay. Stupid. How can you take back a word that means ignorant person? I mean, it's an oxymoron within itself, but they convinced other black people that didn't have anything else positive to say in their rap songs. Would be like, nigga this, nigga that. Oh yeah, that's good, because you know how the word nigga just rolls off my tongue. So then they push in their white boys. Oh yeah, use a little bit more nigga this, nigga that. Yeah, that's great, here's your money. JC. Here's your money. Give me another bitch, Puffy. So I want you to understand what the government has actually done. Now, Kelvin Kenneth Boogie 50, Buck 50, he killed the real Buck 50 and took his name to get his clout in New York. I know all you shit. I can't wait to make a song about it, 50. I'm coming for you, you bitch. You don't know me. So, they pushed this bitch, Kelvin Kenneth Boogie, XBD, wanting to be killed by everybody up under Jam Master Jay. Jam Master Jay taught this motherfucker how to rap like G-Dep. And for all you people that know who G-Dep is, remember G-Dep, and actually go on YouTube and listen to G-Dep. Before 50 kind of flipped his style when he first came out, he rapped just like G-Dep. And you know why he rapped just like G-Dep? I'm going to tell you some hip-hop shit. Because G-Dep was signed by Puff Daddy and stolen from Jam Master Jay. G-Dep was Jam Master Jay's prodigy. And then Puffy stole him? Now, do you think this is a coincidence? Fuck no. Like I told you, my stepbrother does security for Puffy. Puffy stole the Bad Boy name and logo. I drew it when I was a kid for the Bad Boys. And the Bad Boys took that and started spraying it everywhere. They made a silhouette of it and marking their territory. I drew that for my friend Ray Gray. And then Ray got shot by a Mexican cartel, and that logo was taken when he was shot. That day, I'll never forget it. He was shot by a fucking Mexican and took his whole bag, and all of a sudden all the stuff in that bag came up missing, and then the government's federal task force starts putting my fucking logo, you know, a little bit after he was shot, on the back of their cars after they shot up the VC and Black Disciple Gangsters. All the leaders. They started putting it on the back of their cars. And that Bad Boy logo now is the variation of that little fucking dude that you have pissing on Ford. That's what they changed it into, pretty much. The Bad Boy logo was the original sketch to that, because I fucking drew it. This is who you're dealing with, motherfuckers. To all you stupid Mexican cartel gangsters. You wanna blow a kiss at me? You wanna blow a fucking kiss at me? So, they put 50 under Jam Master Jay, which Jam Master Jay was BD. 50 was an assassin. That's all. So, let me tell you what happened. Scarface is looking for this bitch. Has been looking for this bitch forever. His cousin's brother got shot up. So I want you to understand that Jam Master Jay is teaching this bitch 50 how to rap, the streets of hip hop, the streets of New York and hip hop, and how to promote yourself, and how to do mixtapes and who to give them to. I mean, it's Jam Master Jay. Everybody gonna open arms to this bitch. But little did Jay know who Boogie, Kenneth, Kelvin Jackson really was. So then he gets his street credit, because let me help you understand, Jam Master Jay built hip hop, people. Not Russell Simmons, not Run DMC, Not any of those other motherfuckers. It was Jay. Why do I say it was Jay? Because it's always the DJ, people. I'm a DJ. I know what DJs do. And in the music industry, without the DJ, you have no idea how bad your fucking music would suck. The DJs are the most innovative, most creative, always remixing people's stuff, always with that new shit. If there was no Jam Master Jay, there wouldn't have been any Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys was the first transition from rock to hip hop and got all these white kids and pulled them in. It wasn't Rick Rubin. It was Jay. Jay with the beats. Rick Rubin what? Rick Rubin was some fucking dude in rock that was used to making his money off pimping out fucking rockers. Anybody can do that. And he's still doing it now to hip hop. He ain't no foundation. He was just some white motherfucker that was just there. Anybody could have did what Rick Rubin did if he had a background in rock, let's be honest. So Rick Rubin came along, you know, at the right time. But the fact of the matter is, it was Jam Master Jay that built hip hop. Because without his beats, without his knowledge, without what he did, the music world would be very different. In my opinion, Jam Master Jay in black music was just as important as James Brown. Honestly. There has been no other hip-hop producer that has been more vital than Jam Master Jay. Because he actually started the revolution and brought so many people of different ethnic backgrounds together through hip-hop and on the dance floor and in clubs. I mean, this brought so many people together, that music. And still, even today, when you listen to Walk This Way, you know, but people don't give respect to the DJ like that. They just think he's some guy back there, you know, doing the beats, scratching, wiki. No, he was the producer. That is like taking Cap Calloway, you know, and just putting him up there by himself without his big band behind him. What is he? That's like taking James Brown and putting him on stage by himself without his band behind him. What is he? That is Jam Master Jay, people. I want you to understand why it was so important for the U.S. government to kill him. He was a blood sacrifice, and a huge one. So, let me go on to explain how the hit went down. After 50, Kenneth, Kelvin, BD known as Boogie, Jax, was getting his street credit, and everybody's like, oh, that's tight, Jay, like your guy, oh wow, that's cool, yeah, let me see him, what's this? So nobody really saw him, he kept him in the studio. Then Buck 50 must have did some background checking on him, because everybody in New York, when you go to New York and you're trying to do hip hop, oh, don't think there ain't an organization when it comes to music that's gonna check your ass out. I mean, there are guys in New York, if you sample a little snippet of some 30-year-old jazz track, they're gonna know it. Def Jam pays people to do this. They're like the secret police of sampling. I mean, they are very good at what they do. And not only when it comes to music, check it out, people. So I want you to understand what happened. And the government, I know they knew this was going to happen. This was their plan all along. To send a message back to the black disciples and the BC and to take over hip-hop. This is what they did. Jay had been promising 50 a contract, and basically a contract that would give him a Def Jam contract. Now, if you're a hip-hop artist, Def Jam contract is like your wet dream. That's like the creme de la creme. That is like top of the top. You get a Def Jam contract, you're just the man. That's Def Jam. So Def Jam brought 50 Cent, Kenneth, Boogie, the Sith, Mr. Jackson in front of the Def Jam Roundtable. Now I want you to understand exactly what the Def Jam Roundtable is. I didn't break that down in the last video. I'm going to break it down in this video. The Def Jam Roundtable is basically all the old school rappers. Say you got Scarface from the Texas South. You got all the other rappers from different parts of the country that had, you know, blown up their part of the country. Now they're older and they sit at the head of the round table with the music because they're bringing in their guys from that part of the country. So this is the Def Jam Roundtable. So the person that sits at the head of the Def Jam Roundtable is Scarface, Mr. Ghetto Boys, Mr. South, Def Jam distribution in the South. Now, let me tell you how important the South is right now to music and the music industry and hip-hop. Who do we have that came out of the South? Beyonce, who the Illuminati turned into pretty much Jay-Z's whore. Now, Solange is trying to fight for her baby because they want Solange's baby to be a blood sacrifice. Let's be honest. Jay-Z's a faggot. Jay-Z sold out when he and Damon Dash gave Aaliyah up for a blood sacrifice. That's what she was. Aaliyah was dating Dash, and she was supposed to marry Dash in 3 weeks. And she got killed. Now notice, 3 weeks. It's always their numerology in threes. Aaliyah was a blood sacrifice. Jam Master Jay was a blood sacrifice for all these, you know, niggas that really sold us out. So I'm telling you about another blood sacrifice that directly involved my family. So when Jam Master Jay took 50 Cent to the Def Jam Roundtable, guess who recognized? Scarface. The story is Scarface jumped over the table, beat the shit out of 50. Scarface is big. 50 is bigger too, but Scarface is bigger. And from what I heard, 50 can't fight. He's just big. So, anyway, this is what happened. So then they pulled Face off Boogie, and everybody was shocked. They know what the fuck happened. So then they put him in separate rooms, and then Face said, "That's that motherfucker I've been looking for. He got my fucking cousin, my brother shot, blah, 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 blah." Started telling him about the shit. What went down with the Bad Boy Hit Squad that my stepbrother, Corregger Cliff Jackson, was on and part of the Assassination team, and got a lot of VCs and BDs shot up and killed. That was all because of Boogie, Kenneth, Kelvin, 50 Cent. So he blew out the Sith's cover. I want you to understand exactly what really took place. So the U.S. government had to know this was bound to happen. You don't get a Def Jam contract without going in front of the round table. I guess maybe they thought he wouldn't recognize him, but he did. So if Face hadn't recognized 50, Boogie, Kenneth, Kelvin, Jackson, he would be on Def Jam. And the U.S. government would have a Sith, a relocated government narc on the top hip-hop label in the world. That was their plan. So plan number 2. Let me tell you what they did. So Scarface, put it out, who he was, what he was doing. And so 50 already knew the ropes of where to put his tapes and already had people that were cool and stuff like that with him. So they still took his tapes and put them out. But 50 put out tapes like how he's going to jack this person and how he's going to do this and do this. And everybody's just like, for the hip-hop heads, that was the most disrespectful shit because he was disrespecting like some good people in the music industry. And you just don't do that, and nobody's ever done that. And so for some of the other motherfuckers, they're just like, oh, that's dope. I can't believe he did that. Who the fuck is this? Doing NASA saying this, and oh, he's gonna jack this person and fuck this person and doing this, and oh, he knows about everything. Because Jay and 50 would be in the studio talking, and 50 learned everything. Let's be honest. So then what 50 did is just basically went back and made a song about the shit he heard in the studio. So then the CIA send their Great White Elvis rapper down. Oh man, I heard your mixtape. Oh, that's the dopest stuff I've ever heard. Come with me, I'm Eminem. I'm gonna give you $1 million. $1 million. Because his mixtape was that hot? Bullshit. That $1 million came through Eminem. And yeah, Eminem, I hope your ass gets a bullet too, because you in on this. Let's be honest. Eminem passed the money from Detroit. Now, yeah, I want you to understand what the double D's are. Have you heard of the double D's, people? The double D's is, you know, the Detroit black pimp gangsters. Eminem is from Detroit. Wilbur Jackson from Detroit. Corregger Cliff Jackson from Detroit. So now you see what I've always seen and known. Okay? So Eminem came, another man from Detroit, because 50 Cent, Kelvin Jackson, was actually, his family was from Detroit and moved down to Houston. So Eminem comes and gets this bitch $1 million because his mixtape is just that hot. Okay, all right. Got any Yakuza out there? Do we have any real hitmen out there? How much do you take to kill somebody like Jam Master Jay? Well, I know with ninjas, real ninjas, it's in gold, depending on the exchange rate, whether it's euros or dollars. It's always a little over $1 million or a little under $1 million. But as of like old Chinese gold standards, it's $1 million in Chinese and Japanese gold. That's always the case. It's always been like that for a real hitman. So I want you to understand what that $1 million in gangster talk from the U.S. government really was from Eminem. So 50, who got relocated to New York, probably got a call from Cliff Corregger Jackson, my stepbrother, and went in to New York with Mark Jackson, my other stepbrother, who is also known for hitting and shooting someone, and did jail time for it. So all three of them went into Jam Master Jay's studio. So I want you to get a clear picture of what I'm saying. That's why it's kind of silent, so you can think about it. I want you to get a clear picture of what's really going on, because I think this is probably the most thorough video I've done on this subject. So what happened next is, I want you to understand this. Jam Master Jay, R.I.P. to him, really found out that day what hip-hop was really about. This was actually the saddest day in hip-hop when Jam Master Jay was killed. Because I want you to really understand what really happened to a hip-hop guru and icon and a man that actually changed history as we know it. Now, remind you, I am from the Project Montauk, and they have assassins going through time and killing specific key people with time travel. Now, I want you to think that, you know, Jam Master Jay was probably killed because of something that maybe he would have done in the future. Honestly. But people don't think about things like that. I think about things like that because this is what the U.S. government does with time travel. I want you to understand this, people. I mean, they're going back and assassinating great people, these fucking Nazis, that actually literally do things that change the timeline and make it more pro-peace. That is what Jam Master Jay did. He was the man behind all of that. His beats, his construction, his organization was the driving rhythm behind all of that. That man. So they used 50 Cent, Boogie, aka Kelvin Jackson, Kenneth Jackson, Buck 50, whatever the Sith wants to call himself, with Corregger Jackson, Cliff Jackson, Mr. Marine Hitman, Mr. Puff Daddy Security, Mr. I gave Puff Daddy the Bad Boys logo to start Bad Boy, my stepbrother who actually killed my friend who I drew that logo for, who was a BD, paid Mexican Cartel to shoot him at school, and then took the logo and then gave it to the feds. That's my logo, feds. That's my logo, Bad Boy. I never gave you permission to use that. And as far as I'm concerned, you still owe me for that, motherfuckers. So, I want you to get a clear picture of what they did. They went into a studio that was filled with all the best rappers and studio producers possibly of Def Jam, and killed Jam Master Jay, and everybody saw it. Everybody saw him come in, everybody saw him leave. Now, I want you to understand that everybody knew who Cliff was. Everybody knows who Cliff is. Cliff is, amongst black disciples, they know what he does. For the Bloods, Cliff is the Bloods hitman. He is the man when it's like when the Mexicans want to send a message, you know, I'm going to do a video of cutting somebody's head off so they can be scared. Or hold up a little picture of them throwing knives in people, you know, so people back, oh, okay, oh. Basically, that's Cliff for the Bloods. That's my stepbrother. The government assassin. Everybody's afraid of him. I ain't afraid of him. My father. So, anyway, now you're getting a really good, clear picture of what happened. They killed Jam Master Jay. It was a public execution. And when I say public execution, I mean they executed and killed that man in his own studio around the Def Jam staff, who still to this day don't say shit. I'm the only one saying shit. You know why I'm the only one saying shit? Because I'm the only one that can really say shit and still be alive to talk about it. Haven't y'all figured that out? I mean, I may play like, I'm mad, I'm this and this. No. But, you know, I'm a good actor. I know what the fuck they do. I've always known what's going on. Like I said, they trained me as a child assassin. As a child. So this is how I get people assassinated with the truth. I mean, there's nothing better than this. I mean, they killed my family. And then they have people running around that are government agents acting like them. And I revealed that shit too. So I want you to understand what they did that day. They killed Jam Master Jay. It was pretty much a public execution. And all the people in that studio, which were black disciples, BD didn't say shit. Because it was Cliff. Cliff off Biggie for Puffy. Cliff was the shooter of Tupac. Pac was Bloods though. I'm gonna be honest, because Pac was from California. And when he started out, you know, he was BD. But when he got with Dr. Dre and all of that NWA shit, that's all Bloods. Now let me explain to you what happened with Puff Daddy when the word got out amongst BD and the hip hop community, and they still don't listen to Puff Daddy shit. See, what most people don't know with hip hop and rap, the black disciples and the Bloods only listen to their artists. They know who's who. And they only bang beats from BD, Black Disciple beats, or Blood beats. And let me tell you, the Blood beats, the Bloods, are all the shit you and your kids listen to. Jay-Z, Beyonce, 50 Cent, Government Unit, G Unit, all the stuff that's in the mainstream media, that's all Bloods. All Bloods. Because they work for the CIA and the government. All Bloods. That's all Blood music. But before the industry became completely controlled by the Bloods, when this stuff was just starting to happen, when BD was still up there, when you had Talib Kweli, Mos Def, and Black Star, and you still had Gangstar, and you still had Black Disciples still up there pumping the beats, because hey, DJ Premier is from Houston, Texas. Don't think Chris don't know me. I worked at Atomic Music when Chris was my #1 competition at selling hip hop, and he worked at Soundwaves. Chris was pumping more hip hop out of Soundwaves over in the Hiram Clark area next to the Astrodome, because he built up that shit. And then he moved to New York. That's Chris, DJ Premier, BD, motherfuckers. So don't think that I ain't got my background behind me. So now you got the Bloods and the whole industry, you know, the bloodsuckers, demons, witches, Rihanna, all them bitches, all Bloods, all witchcraft, all Satanism, all that shit. There's a reason why BD is called Black Disciples. So I want you to understand the two sides. It's like good and evil. It is like this. And on a financial, metaphysical, financial level, it is like this. Now, when you take it down to a biblical aspect, what's the blood? Who drew the first blood? Cain. Who was the first murderer? Cain. Who are the blood drinkers? The witches. Who are the ones that give blood sacrifices like so many like I'm talking about right now? Blood. Sacrifice that blood. Who don't do this shit? Black disciples. Why? Because we're disciples. So now you understand the real gangster shit. On a whole other level. Because everything you know about gangsters, you really don't know anything. So, I want you to understand about Bad Boy when the word got out that Bad Boy was a blood label because everybody thought Bad Boy was a Black Disciples label. Because Puffy took the Black Disciples logo, which was my logo, which I drew, which was given to him by my stepbrother, after Ray was shot by a Mexican cartel. A cholo. So, to make a long story short, the word got out, what happened? Everybody stopped listening to Bad Boy. Everybody stopped playing Bad Boy shit, and then guess what happened to Bad Boy? Does anybody remember when Bad Boy, the Bad Boy label just went belly up? And everybody quit listening to Puff Daddy shit? That was after that fucking, he did all that shit with Mace, all that hip-hop glam shit. Yeah, it was a hit, but it didn't last. Shit sucked. Nobody listens to that shit anymore. It was like bubblegum hip-hop. Puffy and fucking, I don't know, what were those suits he was wearing? Like cellophane and all flashy and shit? That shit was ridiculous. Still to this day, nobody listens to those songs with him and Mace. So his label went belly up, and guess who came in to bail him out? Cliff, with the government. Bad Boy got purchased by the government and put Puff Daddy as the head CEO of Bad Boy Records, which he still is. He doesn't own Bad Boy. He's the head CEO of Bad Boy. He's the face of Bad Boy. But the government, the CIA, Nazis, Rothschilds own Bad Boy. And so then Puff Daddy comes out with that song, you know, we ain't going nowhere, Bad Boy for life. That was him saying he sold his soul to the devil. His record label is there for life. That's what that song was. That's Bad Boy. Bad Boy's a bunch of faggots. Puff Daddy's a faggot rapist. What he's doing to Cassie and turned Cassie into basically a whore, and he's pimping her out. That's why you ain't heard no Cassie songs. When she came out with Me and You and they blew that shit up on MySpace and they became famous for that, oh, here comes Puffy. Now Cassie's just a prostitute for Puff Daddy. This is Bad Boy. This is what the government has done to our music. They have G-Unit, government unit now, which 50 Cent, Boogie, Kenneth Jackson, and the only reason he's still alive is because, I'm going to say it again in this video, and Zulu Nation, I mean, fuck you. Yeah, I said fuck you to Zulu Nation. Fuck you. And after listening to this video, and if you don't say you deserve a big fuck you, you ain't on the same level as me. Because I know what you did with 50. 50 comes out after Jam Master Jay's killed with his "Y'all ain't really got nothing, y'all ain't really," you know, the prankster wankster track. And he's driving around in a bomb-proof Hummer, and he's in some secure room lifting weights. That was because he just killed Jam Master Jay, people. But the people watching TV and shit don't know that. They just see this motherfucker driving around in a bomb-proof Hummer. Because now you understand why people want to blow his ass up. Caesar Augustus' father has a bomb-proof Hummer. The man that stole $70,000 from me, the Mexican cartel. So he's driving around in a bomb-proof Hummer, talking about y'all ain't really got nothing, and this and this. And then he comes out with that song, Magic Stick. Do you know how bad the real gangsters wanted to kill him after that shit? When he talking about he on the top of it, he got the magic stick. This is 50 Cent. This is Kenneth Jackson. This is Boogie. Do you know how much mad shit he's talked to the real mafia with his music? So then shit just got too hot. And I mean, it got to the point that he couldn't even do a concert in Texas. I remember I was at a concert because I was doing A&R for the first black video game company, Revelation Interactive, and this was his first show in Houston. And guess what? He didn't even get on stage. Still to this day, he ain't done a show in Houston. Scarface from Houston, that's his town. Motherfucker ain't gonna get on stage and do a song in Houston where he knows BD still wants his ass dead and don't give a fuck about Zulu Nation. Let me explain to you what Zulu Nation did for this Sith bitch and how Zulu Nation sold the fuck out because of 50 Cent. Now I told you everything that this man has done. Everything Corregger Jackson has done and how the Bloods, our Bloods and the Crips are Crips, well, Zulu Nation, you know, Africa Bambaataa comes along and starts the Zulu Nation and stops the gangs from warring and brings peace amongst the gangs. Okay, that's great, Zulu Nation. That was back then. That was when it was needed, and that is when the gangsters had some common sense. And that's when you could make them dance instead of stabbing each other. That was fucking beautiful. But now it's 2014, we're dealing with the CIA. We're dealing with the Bloods and human sacrifice and all that shit. Now you want to take a demon and make him hold hands with the black disciples and say, yeah, we are one, we need peace. Y'all are fucking stupid, Zulu Nation. Is this exactly what you did? When you made KRS-One do an album with 50 Cent. I was like, what the fuck? And then let me tell you people what Zulu Nation actually did. And Zulu Nation, I want all that fucking money. Because that bitch did this to my family and I need to distribute it. I don't give a fuck what you want to do with it. I want that fucking money. $50 Cent gives the Zulu Nation, I think like 35% of the money that he makes. Yeah, I'm not kidding. So the Zulu Nation agreed if he did that, to basically bring the peace and take the heat off that bitch's head. Yeah, I'm not kidding, people. This is what Black Masons did. This is how they sold everybody out. for fucking money, for blood's money. So 50 Cent gets 35% of what he makes to the Zulu Nation. Yeah. That's the only reason why he's still alive and making music. Because Zulu Nation told some of the black disciples to basically stand down and take the heat off of him. Oh, because he's giving 35% to the Zulu Nation. I don't give a fuck if he's giving 100% to the Zulu Nation, because it was never his money in the first place. So anyway, now you know hip-hop, and now you know the real deal about gangsters, and how everybody is just completely sold the fuck out. And how I sit in Cancun right now after a Mexican fucking cartel lawyer had his bitches blow kisses at me while I'm walking through the mall after the day when he tried to assassinate me with a fucking hitman at my front gate with another young little cholo. So, gangsters. You're gangsters, right? Right, okay, cool. I'm not a gangster. Never needed to be one. But I will tell you that because of a conversation that I had with a man by the name of Ray, because Ray was a black disciple from New York, like, think 4th or 5th generation black disciple. He broke it all down to me how the black disciples, like, operated, worked, schools, everything. I was like, what? I said, that shit's more high-tech than the government. He's like, yeah, I know. So I was shocked. I never knew, like, you know, a black gang could be actually this smart, but they fucking are. So after several days of me and Ray conversating, Ray tells me this. He said, man, brothers like you, we really need to protect. I said, what do you mean? He's like, man, the last few days in our conversations, the things that you have allowed me to understand are profound. And I have never ever had a better understanding of things than right now. And Ray asked me, he said, have you heard of the blueprints? I said, no, man. And he said, well, the BDs have been waiting to find, you know, their head disciple, the person that is supposed to pass down the divine knowledge. And they call this person the blueprints. And he said, up until now, he said, I've listened to other brothers from New York and from all around the world come to New York and speak. In the last 2 days of talking to you, I've never evolved this much. And he said, man, I think you're the blueprints. And I just kind of said, nah, man, I'm just me. I laughed at him. You know, and I thought he was joking, and I was like, oh, dude, shut up. Because this is a big compliment. I didn't really take him seriously. So then he proceeded to tell me, he said, man, I talked to some people. I told them basically what you told me, and they were blown away, and we're going to give you title of blueprints. I said, what does that mean? It's like, I said, am I some gangster now? He's like, nah. He said, you don't need to do anything, man. You just live your life, you do what you need to do. You're always protected. I said, oh, dude. I said, that's cool. I said, but what I need you to do is protect my brother, not me. He's like, oh, don't worry about him. We'll take care of him. Well, the fact of the matter is, not even the BD could protect my brother, because BD, they killed Leslie. And let me tell you when they killed Ray. Remember when Leslie, my brother, moved to Florida with Ray? And then Ray and Leslie had a fight, supposedly, and then Leslie broke Ray's leg? That wasn't Leslie that did that. They killed Leslie, I suspect, in Florida. That was a Sith, a government assassin that did that, because the fight amongst Leslie and Ray, when Ray broke his leg, or got his leg broke, Leslie wouldn't do some shit like that. So that was the Sith that did that. And remember, Leslie moved away from Ray, because Ray probably knew that Leslie got replaced, and that's that. So for all you Black Disciple members, that's what happened to Leslie. And I can tell you, the man walking around as my brother ain't my brother. I've gone on record saying that, because I'm sick of these motherfuckers not knowing any history of my family. Seriously, I mean, how many times can you talk to a family member and then they don't know something, and then they try to like act like they know and make up some shit that don't even really make sense, that coincides with your family's past history? My memory is like a brick, CIA. So I want Black Disciples to know, yeah, they replaced Leslie. And they got a fucking government motherfucker rocking around as him. Same as my mother, same as my father. All I got left really is Gary, my nephew. And the only reason he's still alive is because Gary Green, his father, grew up with Cliff Jackson, and Gary Green was actually put on my sister, Tashawn, who's dead, who was actually killed by an assassin in the hospital. So let's be honest. Gary Green went after her, and then she didn't want to have anything to do with Gary Green, so then Gary Green went after my sister Nate and impregnated her, in which I have my nephew Gary. All that shit comes from my step family, the Jacksons, via the military. So you ain't replaced me yet, CIA. You ain't killed me yet. I'm still here. And what, you got bitches blowing kisses at me? Let's get real, motherfuckers. So anyway, this is my life. Welcome to it. So I hope you get a really good understanding of gangster shit. I'm gonna leave you with this story. I love this story. Club AM, where you at? This is for the old schoolers. Trevor Dodd, you know, Leroy Patterson, or Peterson, Mikey Pratt, old school motherfuckers in Houston. I was at the Club AM one night, and basically what happened was, I want you to understand how the CIA has always put their boys in my life. I'm going to talk about a boy, and I'll say his fucking name, Chris Treadway. Everybody knows Chris Treadway. He used to go by DJ Exit. He grew up with me in the rave scene. He got turned out by Rick of New Beat Records, and what I mean by turned out is I mean by dosed with ecstasy and fucked up the ass. Because Rick used to do this to little boys that were about, you know, 16, 15, 16, 17 years old, and had a fucking stack of pictures in his possession with boys with a little frog on their dicks that he'd turn out to do tricks for records. Rick of New Beat. I'm not talking about Bruce of Record Rack. Yeah, they're friends. I'm talking about Rick, the rich faggot Mason. So Chris Treadway got turned out by him, but I want you to understand, Chris Treadway, his father was the son of a Nazi NASA scientist, a relocated Operation Paperclip Nazi NASA scientist. So I want you to understand that me being friends with Chris Treadway gave the CIA full classification to black out my past, because Chris was the son of a Nazi NASA scientist that was brought over to the United States under Operation Paperclip. So I've always had the CIA up my ass, not to mention I was a Project Montauk kid. So Chris was probably put on me by the Nazis on purpose. They were hoping probably that me and Chris would get together. Yeah, right. Chris is a faggot. I've never been a fucking faggot, motherfuckers. The only reason I befriended Chris because he was a little white kid, blonde hair, blue eyes, and everybody wanted to kick his ass. The first day of school, he couldn't keep his mouth shut. He'd run his mouth. So then Danny, that was part of the heavy metal bikers, he said something to Danny, and Danny wanted to kick his ass. So Danny started kicking his ass, and I saw Danny start kicking his ass, and I ran over there and saved his ass. It was his first fucking day at school. What would you do? So after that, me and Chris became friends. Lo and behold, I learned that his father raped him every time he got drunk. And his father was a Nazi and had Nazi clothing, Nazi food, or plates, not food, but plates and silverware and coins throughout his house in secret places. This was his grandfather's shit. Chris's father also worked at NASA. Until my mother told other parents that Chris's father was raping him. And then he lost his job at NASA and got a job at Ford. Hated my mother because of this. And I know this really pissed off the CIA. So I want you to understand that I was at a Club AM one night. And Chris fucked this girl named Melanie. Melanie, don't be mad at me, fuck it. Anybody know Melanie Real? Anybody know Michael Real? I'm sure you coke dealers out there know Michael Real, because Michael Real was a big time drug dealer at this time. Be honest. But Michael Real was one of those rich boy drug dealers. Michael Real's father was Jimmy Burge. Jimmy Burge at this time was the head chairman of Metro and financial advisor for Bob Lanier. Bob Lanier was the governor. I am talking about Jimmy Burge's stepson, Michael Real. So Chris Treadway was dating Melanie Real. And so Michael Real, who thought he was a gangster because he was a rich boy dealing coke and acid and whatever and whatnot, thought he was a gangster. Comes up to me in the club because I'm friends with Chris Treadway and I'm dancing and Chris is dancing like a little bit over my shoulder. Michael comes up to Chris and starts harassing him, and then I go over to Michael and I'm like, dude, what's up? And then he's like, oh man, that motherfucker raped my sister and blah, 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 blah. Because Michael had it in his head that, you know, Chris raped Melanie. And Michael was already pissed off because there were rumors, I guess, I didn't know, but other people knew that Chris, you know, played both sides of the field. I didn't know that shit. So Michael was pissed off about Chris banging his sister. I would be too, because, you know, it's kind of gross when you sleep with a faggot, ladies. Let's be honest. This is, so, anyway, I didn't know this, and I'm used to protecting Chris, because he's just a fucking white kid that runs his mouth. Stupid. So basically, to make a long story short, Chris and Mike have words. I have to go over and get in between them, and then when I did, Michael goes over my shoulder and hits Chris in the face. And then I wrap his arm up, twist his arm up, and push him away. And I said, what the fuck, dude? So then Michael tries to hit me, and I told you I was trained by ninjas. So Does anybody know the elbow wrap-up move? When you grab a motherfucker at his elbows and pick him up. I did that to Michael. I grabbed him at his elbows because I had all his pressure points in his arm closed down so he couldn't move his arms. Yeah, I know that shit. So then I picked him up, walked across the club with him, and put him on the wall and said, cool the fuck down and leave Chris alone. So then I put him down and Michael swung at me. I blocked it. I swung at him, and then out of the blue, some 6-foot black guy blocks my arm. And so then, right after that, I have like 30 Vietnamese guys and all my black friends behind me. So then Michael and his black friend and the other guy that they were with were like, put up their hands like, whoa, we don't want any trouble. That's how shit went with me growing up whenever anybody messed with me. And this was before the black disciples came into my life. This is how I grew up with the VC. So, Mexican Cartel, can you hear me now? Do you got any kisses for me today? Or do you have my fucking money? It's like that. So if they want to play, let's play. I'm making videos about your stupid shit. I don't give a fuck who knows about it. It's the truth. Can't nobody make this shit up. And then I can guarantee you one day I'll get millions of dollars off these stories. Because stupid fucks like you just keep making it better. I mean, the ignorance of fucking people. It is unbelievable sometimes. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Have a nice day. Walk in the light. Stay blessed. Peace.